Now the impeller is the raw water pump for the engine, so we're going to show you how to remove it and how to replace it. But before we work on the raw water side of the system, remember this is raw water. This is seawater, lake water, whatever your boat is in, it's actually sucking this water up through the engine. So once we've turned the water off, then we need to remove this plate. So I'll use this just to undo, and what I normally do is just loosen them all. And then what I do is then I remove them all by hand. And the reason I do this is so we don't lose them. The problem is with boats, if we drop a screw, it might disappear down and then roll around underneath the floor, underneath the engine, and become very difficult to get to. And I'll remove them all apart from the top centre one. And if I do that, then the plate will stay, and then I'll hold on to the plate, remove the top centre bolt, and then remove the plate with it. We can clearly see the impeller. Now there is a gasket here, so if we're lucky, like this, the gasket will just fall off, but we need to replace this. We can see the impeller here. Now there's various ways to remove it. One, you can just try, it's very difficult just to pull it out with your fingers. You can't get enough of a tight grip. So a very common way people do is actually go to use a screwdriver and lever it out. But the problem is with this is that the screwdriver metal is a much harder metal than say the bronze alloy that's around here. So we can actually burr the edge of here, so we can damage this edge. And if we damage this edge, the actual plate has to fit completely flat to here. And if we burr this, it might end up that it'll leak from this point. So we have to be really careful. So what I normally advise people to do, if you're going to use a screwdriver, is use two. If you use two screwdrivers, is tape around the screwdriver, so electrical tape, and that will then become the softer surface, and that's the harder surface, so the softer surface will damage, so you won't damage or burr this. We can use long nose pliers, go in onto a blade like that and just wiggle it free. So we'll remove that. Once it's removed, we need to clean this surface of any old gasket. Now the best way to clean it off is actually using a flat Stanley blade, and this single blade you can use just to scrape the very edge of this off, and then use WD-40, and then use, I quite often use a green emery sort of cloth, and then that will clean the surface nice and clean. If there's any left on here, it will leak. And we do the same with the inside of the plate, get it completely clean. Anything left behind from the old gasket will cause it to leak. Before we put the new impeller in place, we just want to draw your attention to, at the back of the shaft where the impeller sits, there's actually a seal. Now this seal can fail, and if it fails, what you'll get is a dripping from the front of the pump. Now this is a very simple seal and it's quite easily replaceable. So I would always advise, even if it's not leaking, to change that about every 3 years. If you are getting a dripping from here, it's very easy to tell if it's the cover or if it's the seal. Is simply take your finger and put it behind the pump like this. And there are actually evacuation holes, and it's actually in its design to stop the water actually going through into the engine. It actually leaks out of holes at the back when this seal is worn out. If your finger is wet behind here, then this seal is leaking. If it's not getting wet here, but it only is getting wet when you put it here, then it's probably the cover plate. But very simply, just put your finger behind, and if it's wet, then this seal needs replacing. What we're going to show you now is actually putting the impeller back in. And the way an impeller works is that the water will come in. So this is the inlet, and this is the outlet to the heat exchanger. So the water will come in. It'll then trap between the blades, and as the impeller turns, the water will be trapped between the blades. And then as it reaches the top part of the pump, there's a cam here which actually bends the blades over, and we'll see that once I put the impeller back in. And then because the water can no longer travel further around because the blades have bent, it then pushes it up. So it comes in, goes around the long way around the pump and then up, and it can't get beyond this cam. So when we put the impeller in, we want to push it against the cam, bend those blades over, and then twist it as we put it in, and then it will line up with the shaft in the middle, and then once it lines up, we simply push it in. And we can see now these blades are bent, so the water comes in, traps between the blades, and then pushes out because it can't go all the way around in a circle. The other thing to note as well, I've put this impeller in, but it's quite dry. And of course what we want to do is reduce the amount of friction between the rubber of the impeller and the housing, because when we first start the engine, when it's dry, there is no water around the impeller, and it's purely the water that cools the impeller. And without the water, we can see all the sides of the impeller, the back and the front, and even these blades on the cam actually touch the surfaces. So these very quickly get hot. And that's the problem when you have a lack of water through the system, is the impeller gets very hot very quickly, so much so just touching the housing will get hot, and the rubber was the first thing to deteriorate, and that can damage the impeller beyond repair. So when we first start the engine, we actually don't want any friction to occur, but of course because there's no water around it, it'll take maybe 10 seconds before the water will pump through efficiently, hopefully just a few seconds in some instances. But what I'd advise you to do is lubricate the impeller with something first. And if you get an impeller kit, normally in that kit you'll get a glycerin gel, and you just coat the impeller with that gel. That will lubricate the impeller until the seawater comes through and then washes it through. If you don't have that, a very useful item is actually washing up liquid. Don't ever use grease or anything that's oil based. So we're going to replace the plate now, and again we're going to pretend this is a new gasket even though it's the old one we're popping on. What we want to do is pick out the topmost centre hole again. We'll put the gasket over the cover. We'll get one bolt and we'll put it through the gasket and the cover like that. And then we'll put this one bolt in. And now we can align the gasket and the cover perfectly so there's no overlapping, and we're not going to damage the gasket when we put any more bolts in. As I put the second screw in, we'll just make sure it's perfectly aligned, and we'll get them all in. Just bear in mind that these screws are very small, and now you might have glycerin gel or washing up liquid over your fingers, so they're going to be very slippery. Get them all in. Imagine these bolts are made of a bronze alloy, much softer than a steel, and if we try to do them up too tight we can damage the threads in the bolt itself or the housing for it. So as long as the surface is nice and clean, we've got a brand new gasket on, there should be no reason it should leak. Now we've changed it, we can open up the water again and then start the engine. I'd always advise though, once we first start it, that we raise the engine speed off of idle, maybe up to 1500 revs, and that just gets the pump working a little bit harder, because if there is air in the system below this, the impeller pump does struggle to draw air through at low speeds. So there's two ways to tell if water's coming through the engine now. The first one is obviously look at the exhaust, and we should see water coming out of the exhaust. If that's hard to see, then we should have some sort of water strainer which may have a clear lid, and we can see the water coming in through there. If you don't have a clear lid and we can't see the water, the only other way is actually put your fingers, just put 2 fingers on the cover plate, and the cover plate should start to get even colder than it felt initially. Because we've got raw water coming through, this plate should be getting colder. So put your 2 fingers on here, and if it's getting warmer, then there's no water going through, and we need to address why that's happening. Maybe raise the engine speed a little bit more, and if it still gets warmer, there may be some sort of blockage we haven't resolved, which is why this has failed in the first place. But if it starts to get colder, then it feels, when you first put your fingers on it, then we know then water is travelling through. And this does even condensate sometimes as well, just because of the change in temperature, the fact it gets so cold. So as long as this starts getting very cold, then we know water's going through.